Hello, beloved hearts. I'm Monica Bermudez, the host for Ascended Earth, the Transfiguration of the New Human podcast. This is a special episode dedicated to the total solar eclipse and all the hype around it and all the talks. And I'll share some of my inputs on what I feel, in channeling information, the significance for me and what it really means, but I also share what other cultures and as well as some of the mythology have to say about all of this. So it'll be a combination of, a lot of information, and then we'll just bring it all together. And I will conclude this episode with a really tiny meditation to connect with this powerful solar eclipse energy, because it really is one of those biggest astrological events. And so the meditation is going to be very powerful. It's going to be very dedicated to the financial system. And I'll share some more insight about that later on in this episode. So April 8th is a big day when the total solar eclipse is about to go into this great, peak of energy. So the solar eclipse is when the sun and the moon come together, and usually it's in the daytime, right? So it's like a short period of darkness that occurs during that time. And it's going to go across actually the United States, starting from Mexico and going into like Canada. And so, and there's some states, I think in Mexico and Texas, it's going to last longer. That means it's going to be a darker period of time during that time frame. And so in some of the other cities that it's going to go through, as it cuts through the United States, is going to be a little shorter in time as far as darkness is concerned. When it is a lunar eclipse, that's when the eclipse occurs at night, usually when it's a full moon. And so some people are able to see it depending on what region it's in. And we just had a partial lunar eclipse actually for the last full moon in March, um, which was about March 25th. And it's all like aligning, all these eclipses are aligning with these um so all of these eclipses are aligning with a lot of these sacred religious holidays, or the holy holidays, right? And for the full moon that we had so the full moon that we had, it was a lunar eclipse, was around the Palm Sunday itself. So So I will explain some other astrological events also that are occurring on April 8th. It's also a super moon, new moon. So these are, and it's going to be a new moon that's in Aries. And so new moons are about new beginnings. And then also when we go into this total solar eclipse of this, darkness period, um, astrologers were saying that we should be able to see Jupiter and Venus close by, as well as a comet called the comet Pons Brooks, and which is also known as the Devil's Comet. And that comet is supposed to be like kind of visible, like near the Jupiter planet, but it is coming in the direction of our Earth, which is going to, according to NASA, is going to come near Earth, closer, probably like, I think April 21st. So anyway, so it's really interesting symbolism and names, of a lot of things going on for that day. But just kind of talk about some of the attributes, right, of an eclipse, what its significance is. It's a time of introspection, reflection, self-care, and a disruption of natural order. So what it really means to me, though, and this is the part that, I take away from my journaling and channeling of my higher self, is that it's more of an initiation of our next phase. It's a completion, a beginning, and a death and a rebirth. It's a major change and transformation in our life. as well as in the collective. There's a lot of purging and letting go. And to me, it's also a symbolism of the phoenix rising from the ashes, because the ashes of your own death, right? Because death is a transitional alchemical state, as I've discussed in previous episodes. And it's a renewed state of higher power. It's an opportunity to reset, to rethink, start afresh. And it's also a portal and a realignment. And I just shared in my previous episode that it's also a twin flame energy. So in that short period of darkness, though, there is that power of the void. And it is in the void of greater creation. It's like the 0 point field. And so it's starting afresh. And so that's really what the significance of this eclipse is. It's a major portal, it's a major initiation for all of us that we're going through these major changes, because the whole year of 2024 is going to be huge transformational changes for each and every one of us individually, but as well as in the collective. And so as the old earth structures are, dismantling, we are also, it's impacting us in different ways. And so in that restructuring of things, what is resurfacing, what is being rebirthed is the new Earth's frequency of energies. And then on top of that, though, they're talking about some other solar flares that will occur around that same time frame. So we've been having some major solar flare classes since the beginning of 2024, actually since the end of 2023 in December. And NASA classified, several classes of solar flares depending on how strong the burst of energy and explosion from the sun occurs. The next class is to be the highest that they have. And lately we've been having some X-class type solar flares. And so what they were saying from space weather is that they're seeing that there may be some more X-class flares, solar flares that occur around that solar eclipse. And which, when that solar flare occurs, I've noticed that the Schumann resonance also takes a really high peak, which is the heartbeat of Earth, the center of Earth. So it's not by coincidence that we're all having like accumulation of all of these events occurring, right? And that's astrological, that's the cosmic type energies and frequencies. So there's a lot that we are also receiving from these transmissions from these astrological planets and how they align, because each planet is alive and it has its own consciousness. And so does Mother Earth have, that consciousness. And so as she is expanding her consciousness, so are we. And so we are receiving those energies at a very collective level. And so that's why, for me, the eclipse is a big major portal and initiation. This is a big one for us. So it doesn't matter where you are around the world, right? Everybody's going to feel this impact for whatever change is occurring in that particular location. But we all get impacted by all of these changes, right, that occur. So it's not just the one place or individual who will experience it. Some of the other significance, though, that or information from the ancient Greek mythology would say that when an eclipse would occur, it would be a sign that the gods were angry with humans and the sun would abandon Earth, bringing untold misery. And so the word eclipse actually comes from the Greek word meaning abandonment. So, I mean, we could look at it as a form of void, which could feel like it is an abandonment, but in that abandonment, which is a shadow aspect, feeling or sense, that we may be going through that, is also a catalyst for us in our new beginnings. In the Native American cultures, and specifically though in the Navajo culture, they say that this marks the end of a cycle and the power when the moon and sun are in alignment. And so when the sun is blocked, it is undergoing a rebirth. It is also seen as the moon and the sun embracing each other. And other Native American or other indigenous cultures see this as a form of healing. So because of all the letting go and the purging, I can see this, being a healing aspect for all of us. The ancient astrologers believe that the solar eclipse was a highly karmic event that helped to balance the scales of justice in the world. And they were considered portal openers, helping us to raise our consciousness and access higher frequencies. And I could definitely resonate with that because that is how I always felt about the eclipse, as being a big portal of energy. And so, and also like, what's interesting about this total solar eclipse, though, is how it's all aligning to a lot of these holy days, right? Like it's really close to like Easter. And on that particular day of like April 8th, which happens to also be another holy holiday, and it's a feast. It's a feast of Annunciation. It's when Archangel Gabriel announced to Mother Mary the birth of Jesus, or the Christed One. And so, and normally every year this is celebrated on March 25th, but because of like the Palm Sunday, the Easter, those usually take precedence with them. So over like any other feast, they moved that date to be on April 8th. I don't really think this is coincidence, and not anything is by coincidence. And so things are just in this own synchronicity and alignment of the universe that is talking to us. So I see this, though, as a symbolism, as Archangel Gabriel is announcing to us. We hold this energy, right, of the Christ consciousness. And I just did an episode about that, where I talk about Easter and the resurrection. And, because it's so closely aligned to Easter, that this is like a wave of this Christ consciousness energy that is coming through this portal, that is filled with so much love and compassion, that we're being initiated into within our own heart. And so, what a perfect day to have this feast of Annunciation from Archangel Gabriel, which is a birthing of us, a birthing of our Christed self. So, I can't say, everything's going to happen overnight. This is just the beginning of all the changes that are going. A lot of people are starting to wake up and really listen to their heart, because the heart calling is getting stronger, and that is coming from your Christed consciousness side of it. And that's what these 5D light codes are doing. They're expanding our consciousness. And with that expansion, what comes in, that connection to our higher self, and that calling of our own heart for a major change in life, transformation. And so the world that we used to know before is not the same. Everything's about to change. What comes with eclipse also are shocks. In those shocking, waves of energy is a change. And so that's where, it can also impact people, and that shockness could create a rippling effect of the greater awakening. And that awakening is that of tapping more into your own soul and having an understanding of yourself more so. And so these are very significant days. And also just, briefly talk about, like, in the Bible, the Gospel of Luke, it said, that when Jesus was crucified, on the cross, that the sun was darkened. And so, it's not by coincidence, though, that we find ourselves in this total solar eclipse right around Easter, which is, Easter symbolism of like resurrection. It is a rising, it's a renewal, it's a rebirth, it's the rise of the phoenix. Okay, we're being birthed out of the ashes of the old self and being renewed. And now, if we look at some of the numerology numbers in this significance, right? April 8th. Okay, so 8 is very significant number related to Christ consciousness. And it is said that Jesus, the man, embodied twice the Christ consciousness, demonstrating to us that we're fully capable of this in our own human form. And this is also related to our avatar state. So some people see these numbers being new beginnings. And I can see when we break out the 8, right, into like two numbers, 4 plus 4. So we get the double 4. 4 is this stability, foundation, building a foundation, a new beginning for this new foundation in our life. So there is a lot of significance around the number itself. And not to mention that this year itself, 2024 equals 28. So there is that double emphasis of that number. And a lot of what I share also comes from like really deep wisdom of mysticism that have been like in and also ancient, civilizations that have been hidden for so long because it wasn't the right time then. But now that the energies have really opened up, a lot more people are open to listening to this and they're thirsting for it. And so this is, a way and also an activation, a transmission for that, um, awakening as well in all of us. And if you notice though, like also when it is a solar eclipse, that when it gets dark like that, animals start to feel a bit disoriented or confused, and usually birds stop singing or they just, think that it's time to go to bed. And I would think so too, and I would want to go to bed as well. But it's interesting though, because like animals I consider to be really wise. And so they do talk to us through different ways. And so I feel like in a way that's their way of giving respect to nature when something is, a change, a transformational change. So I believe that I have said what I wanted to say for this. I could probably talk, some more about it, but we are living in some very like interesting times, but we all chose to be here at this time for to witness a lot of this and also to assist with the Great Awakening in our own way, and to also dissolve ourselves and learn from certain lessons here on this earth. Oh, so the one more thing that I want to share, because I noticed that a lot of people were talking about this. So Nineveh is if you heard of Nineveh, which is Nineveh, it talks about the eclipse crossing in some cities that have that name, where the eclipse is going to be visible. And I believe it's like some states that have that name to it, and the paths of the eclipse supposed to go in that direction. And that is all related to another biblical story about. But what I took from that symbolism was just another form of major changes and transformations in our life. And so, what may seem like an apocalypse is really a transformational state, is an alchemical form. That means that we're shifting into something new, new structures. And so that brings me now to this guided meditation. So, the guided meditation is to work with the solar eclipse energy. And we're going to use it for the financial system because I know there's been so much talk about it. There's been too much fear based around it. But for us, though, just a reminder that we're all creators and we can shift that energy. We can shift the timelines when we all come together collectively, and we can make a huge difference. And scientifically, this has been shown how, like, when you have a major number of people around the world doing a meditation all together, how much the energy has shifted the earth in different ways. And so I want to dedicate this to focus our attention on the financial system, but in ourselves, but also in the collective. So we're going to work with the eclipse energy. And so just place yourself in the most comfortable position that you can. And if you're out and about, driving somewhere, just come back to it when you can. So as you are in your comfortable position, just relax, taking several deep breaths and really tapping into your own heart center. when we find ourselves in the void of this eclipse, it's the portal energy, the 0 point of reset. It is in this point that we are able to recreate and set new seeds of intention. And in those seeds of intention is a greater abundance and prosperity of the financial system in our life, in our relationship with money, and always, having this financial freedom. And let us now set this intention for the collective, sending out these waves to all the financial systems as they restructure themselves to think about the greater good of others, shifting into this higher vibrational timeline. It's a financial system that embraces financial freedom, that embraces abundance and prosperity for everybody evenly. Where our rich mindset has shifted to always having plenty. So just be with this energy. Let the eclipse be this portal of initiation into the collective, as we also feel a shift within ourselves. Let it wash away and cleanse what no longer serves us. Wishing you all the best and sending you waves of love.